Hey, it's your favorite Compas, and this is your Super Wild Card Weekend NFL Takeaways episode. You know we have plenty to say about the LA teams with coaches Brandon Staley and Sean McVay. Sean McVay won't be happy about that we went with Brandon Staley first. Oh boy, do we have plenty to say about the Chargers and their loss to the Jaguars. But Gilbert, here on Compas on the Beat, you know we keep it real. What else should the listeners and viewers be? Why should they be so excited about this program today?
Yeah, because we're going to start off this show by asking a question. I call it the engagement question. I want to get people involved. It's a community here on Compas on the Beat. And we're going to start off, I know kind of unfortunately for some people, but we're going to start off with the Chargers because this show started by talking Chargers. So the first engagement question, I'm sorry, Chargers fans, but who are you going to blame for that debacle in Jacksonville? 27-0, 3 points in the second half, losing on a last-second field goal. I'm sorry, Chargers fans. I feel your pain. But you know what? Let it out in the comment sections here of Compas on the Beat. Please do.
One Charger fan that obviously is not doing too well right now because they lost, but he's keeping his head up. He's excited. Is Dan and Daygo. Let's go to him now and let's see what he's got to say about. Let's see what he has to say. Let's just keep it like that.
Welcome, one, welcome all to another glorious Wednesday. You already know what it is. It is your boy, Dan and Daygo. I know all my Charger fans. We're in the dumps right now, but just because a team can let you down and you feel down, don't you worry. You know who can't let you down? Your Compas. Because we have dropped another episode. You know what today means. New episode from your favorite program, Compas on the Beat. It's not only hump day, so you already know what it is. And you know who else can't let you down? Our Compas over there at Homage. Look at this. Look at this awesome Austin 316 shirt. They have all the best shirts over there. Go over to Homage. The links are in the description. Do not forget to check them out because let me tell you something. I know only Charger fans don't listen to the program. So if you're a fan of any of the 32 teams in the NFL, Homage has got you hooked up. I'm telling you. Look at this. Look at this amazing shirt. And I'm going to tell you this once again, just like I always tell you. When does Dan and Daygo lie to you to begin with? Never. Dan and Daygo does not lie, doesn't know how to. Dan and Daygo is just Nostradamus. And just like Nostradamus can predict the future, a Homage shirt is in your future. So check out the link. Go get them. I'm going to tell you this. Usually when you get shirts from cool websites and everything else, you get them in the mail and everything. They have some cool prints, this and that, but you can't wear them right away. Let me tell you something. When you buy your shirt from Homage and you get it, you can throw it right on and be the envy at every bar, party, date, whatever you want. You are going to be the envy because they're going to say, where the hell did you get that cool shirt? Then all you got to do is point to this little H right there. Right there. Homage, our Compas over there at Homage. They have good taste enough to sponsor your Compas. You should also have good taste, not only in listening to the program, but going out there and checking their product. They have the best shirts. I'm telling you, I'm getting more stuff from them on the daily, and I will only buy shirts from Homage to give gifts to other people. I'll tell you that right now, from like that type of graphic design tees. They also have cool jackets. It's been raining like hell in Southern California. I'm sure it's snowing in other places. They got plenty of awesome jackets and other things. Do not forget, go out and check Homage. It's in the description. Go get yourself some cool threads. You deserve it. You know what they say. Treat yourself. Treat yourself. But anyway, let's get to the program. Here's what we got today. We got our super wild card takeaways. What? The Fernando and Gilberto have their little LA beat and things of that other nature. We're also talking a little Eddie Murphy today in the Avocado Roast. You already know we do it all now. It's time to get to the best damn program in all the universe. From all the way across the hallway. Play the music, Nando!
Welcome to Compas on the Beat. I am Fernando Ramirez. I cover the Chargers for the Sporting Tribune. With me, as always, my co-host, my tag team partner, Gilbert Manzano. He covers the Rams for the OC Register, LA Daily News. What's up, bro?
What's up, Fernando? I'm doing well. Can't say the same about Dan and Daygo. I think you're okay, so that's good to hear. And it's been a good week for me. I was doing some errands, catch up on a few things. Some players they put off surgery because they want to get through the season. For me, I put off like errands. That's my thing, Fernando. And then I got to kick back, watch some football, and I was at a baby shower when I was watching that
How did that go?
Chargers. It was cool. It was fun. But there was a taquero there.
Did
We
you
were
guys play
drinking. It was
games?
raining. It was raining hard though, but when you got tacos, we're good.
Did you guys play games?
Yes. There was a good amount of games, and I had my phone in my hand watching the Chargers game and then playing some games. And yeah, people got into the Chargers game though at the end, and then we know what happened.
Did you guys play Smell the Diaper?
No,
Taste
we
the
didn't
Diaper.
have play though.
Oh.
Is that something you've played before at a baby shower?
No. I've just heard that at some baby showers, like you put different kinds of chocolate in the diaper, and it looks like poop, and you taste it to see what kind of chocolate it is. So I've always kind of wanted to play that because I like chocolate. So
Wait,
I'm like,
is the trick is that one of them actually has real poop, and like you can't be stuck with that one? Or
oh
what?
well, you can smell that. You can smell that little crap from a mile away. So I don't think I don't think that'd be hell. If you're you might have COVID if you can't smell that and you go and you dig deep in it. So yeah, obviously be careful. But is it now a thing that guys are going to baby showers? Is that kind of starting to become a thing?
I guess so. That's what I said to him. Like, wait, I'm going to. I got invited. Okay, cool. So, it was. I don't know. It's for like the entire family, and it was a good amount of people. It just sucks that it was raining, but
Yeah.
good turnout. They had a little tent going on, and everybody was happy. But I'm telling you, man, when you get a taquero, you don't care what's going on.
Oh no.
I showed up my modelos. Where do I put them? That's it. I'm part of the party, and I'm drinking.
You know, it's funny. I love when you're at family events or parties or whatever, and there's always one person that has the football game on, and like there's 10 dudes huddled around a little phone watching the game, or everybody's out there with their phones like that and stuff. Like that to me has always been hilarious. Like obviously, like now, I mean, you could have the game on your phone or wherever, but it's so funny how everybody's like this and they're like looking down and checking the score and everything. It's just I always love seeing that.
But being a Mexican part, there was also like a random soccer game from La Liga. I don't know what the hell was going on in the Mexican league, but they were watching it for now. Maybe And real quick, shout out to Taco Boy in Anaheim because those tacos are fire.
Oh really? Oh, there you go. Maybe one day when we have a Compas event, we'll do something with them. So definitely, that sounds pretty fire.
We keep talking about the food show we have to do here. We already got a soccer show. We got combat sports show. We need a food show, man.
I know that would be interesting. What did I didn't really do much this. I mean, I just watched football. My mom and my sister made pozole, so obviously with the rain and everything, that really hit the spot. So that was pretty good. But other than that, I mean, just watching the game, covering. Sunday I had to go to do end of the season, when they leave the locker room and all that stuff. So it's just funny to see like all the stuff that guys have in their lockers, like Justin Herbert and Derwin James had shovels from when they dug for that new facility. You were at that event.
They still have that there?
Dude, they brought them out from out of nowhere, and they're like, here you go, Justin, and here you go, Derwin. And it was like the shovels from that event. And I was like, oh, wow. I'm like, what do you do with a shovel? Like, and Derwin's like, oh, maybe I'll let little Derwin play with it, his son. I'm like, yeah, and then he's going to hit you with that thing, and you're out because it's like gold.
I know we got to move on, but I remember that was the one where I don't know what he was, either a priest or a rabbi or just different names to it. I don't want to get it wrong, but there was a little kind of a weirdo guy.
I think he was a priest.
Yeah, and he was doing the blessing, but he was he liked the spotlight. Let's put it that way.
This guy. All right, well now it's time for Compas on the LA. Gilbert, obviously the LA Chargers have been all over the news this weekend. They blew a 27-point lead. Obviously now there's a big cloud around Brandon Staley on his future. I know he's going to meet with the Spanos family pretty soon. So I don't know what to make of it. It's pretty crazy to see what's going to happen. But what do you? I mean, you've been around the organization. Do you think they're going to fire Brandon Staley?
Yeah, before I get there, this is why we asked an engagement question. Who are you blaming here? And it's hard to point the finger at somebody, but when you have a debacle like that, someone's gonna get the blame. And I think it's gonna be one of the coaches. And to answer your question, I don't think it's gonna be Brandon Staley. I think Staley's gonna come back and it's gonna be Joe Lombardi. And I think that's gonna be music to everybody's ears. Everybody got fed up with Joe Lombardi. 2 years of this, of like the first year was okay. Like I saw some the growth there, but then I was like, this could be so much better here. And they couldn't do it. And then this year, they just took maybe 3 step backs. And then when you go 27-0, you only get 3 points in the second half. To me, that goes to the offense. And the reason why I say Staley should be back, you finally saw the growth on defense, and I thought it was bigger than what the offense has been doing. So when Brandon Staley finally gets it clicking, and I'm always a person who says 3 years, man. You got to give a coach 3 years, but the second year is a big one. You got to see, you're planting the seeds and you're growing, and that's what we saw with Staley. So the other thing too is like, if you fire Staley, you're gonna fire him for a proven coach. You can't do this new coach again, right? There's a lot of the names out there have never been a head coach before. The one who's a proven coach is Sean Payton, but that's gonna be a tough guy to get. So to me, I feel like Staley's gonna be coming back, and I'll just end this real quick, Fernando. It's just like, how do you explain what the Chargers did on Saturday night without just saying that's just what they do? That's the Chargers. That's the Charger way. They just keep charging. That's the word, right? And a lot of people thought Brandon Staley was going to get rid of that because he attacked the whole curse thing, losing on a field goal, injuries, one-score games, just blunder after blunder, and he wasn't afraid to talk about it. And that to me felt like, okay, that's a good way, but they still can't get out of it. And that's why I couldn't put the Chargers in that top 3 level with the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Bengals, because the Chargers always get in their own way.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. The only thing is that it would be fitting in a sense. Tom Telesco's tenure as a Charger general manager started by blowing a 24-point lead against the Houston Texans. It would only be fitting that his tenure end after blowing a 27-point lead to the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's interesting. But I mean, it's funny
I
because
heard that on What's Up Bolts, by the way, and somebody gave you a shout out for that comment.
oh, really? Oh, I appreciate that. But it's interesting because everybody's pointing at Brandon Staley, and I feel like it's kind of like, no, I'm not gonna say it. It's
You can't just do that and then be like, I'm not gonna say it.
It's what Tom Telesco wants. It's like he doesn't want to. Like at one point, he was receiving a lot of the blame, and now it's like, oh, it's kind of gone off to Brandon now, and now nobody's really talking about Tom. So I just find that a little bit interesting. I don't know how you would think, but it's kind of like now it's back on Brandon. But to me,
that's a good point. I real quick, friend. I hadn't even thought about that. Like, we're always asking, what about Brandon Staley? Will he be fired? Will he not? And we're not asking enough about the GM. And to me, they're at least they're a pair. They're an item. You got to blame
you're
them.
You're gonna let him get a 4th head coach.
That's
can't.
unheard of.
I mean, this is his roster. This is his team. I understood if he was a 2-year general manager right now. Well, there's still pieces from the Anthony Lynn and whoever else was the GM era. But no, this has been your team for 10 years. You have not won. You have only gone to the playoffs 3 times. You're 2-3 in the playoffs. And guess where we're headed next year? Brandon Staley's 3rd year. Do you remember what happens in the head coaches of Tom Telesco era? In their 3rd year, they take a dip. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next season. But this year they were this is another thing too. They've been more aggressive during the Brandon Staley era and going and getting free agents. They got Corey Linsley. They traded for Khalil Mack. They went out and they got J.C. Jackson. So like they have been aggressive when it comes to going out in these 2 years. But now this year, are you going to be aggressive again? Like there's just so many question marks. But the question marks there are they gonna keep both of them? Because I think if Brandon Staley goes, you have to take Tom with you. There's no way they can keep Tom and let him go. That's 4. That'd be his 4th head coach that he would hire, and I just think it's tough to tell your franchise, oh, we're gonna run it back with Tom.
I know we got to move on to the other team in LA, but real quick, if Brandon Staley is not the Chargers coach, like is it pretty much Sean Payton or nobody else? Like who's somebody
No, it
who
has
you
it
do it
has to
for?
be Sean Payton. Like the thing is too, you look and your first round draft pick, it's gonna be the 22nd, 23rd pick. 22nd, I think it is right now. What have you really done with 20 plus? You got Jason Verrett. Jason Verrett was good for a year, but then he got hurt and he's been hurt ever since, unfortunately. He could have been a top cornerback in the NFL. The other one was Jerry Tillery, who we all know what Jerry Tillery is, what Jerry Tillery was, and what Jerry Tillery is going to be in the future. So I just don't see why you wouldn't go draft him or why you wouldn't go trade that pick for him. Another thing I was thinking too, do you really have to give him a new contract? He's under contract for 2 years. Why not? Maybe. Well, no, he's gonna want that new contract, I guess, if you trade for him. But yeah, I
That's
would
the
give
other.
him the money.
That's a downside though. You have to trade for Sean Payton.
Yeah,
But
and that's the thing. But I mean, I wonder what would get. I wonder if 2-2s would get him. But it just sounds like he said on the Cowherd show on Monday. He said it's gonna take a first round draft, a mid to late first round draft pick.
oh
I'm like,
my.
damn, you already know he's a chick that knows his worth. He knows he's a mamacita that knows his worth. He's like, papi, ¿quieres venir por mí? Ya sabe.
Well, I don't know if you can convince people for first round pick. That's gonna be tough, man. But the thing I keep going by, like, if you're gonna move on from State, you can go to another first timer. Yeah, Ben Johnson is great at calling plays. Ebro from the Broncos is
No,
great
you
defensive
can't.
coordinator. These are all new coaches. You can't
But
do that again.
and I told Dan and Daygo, the thing is that I understand what everybody's saying. Like, you can't go get a first, and I know you can't. But look at the difference when you have a head coach that knows and a head coach that's been there before. You just got beaten by a Super Bowl winning head coach. Andy Reid has beaten you numerous times. Super Bowl winning head coach. Those guys have been there before. They know what it takes to get over that hump and into the horizon, and they know how to get over it. And that's why in crucial games, in crucial moments, that's why those guys dominate. Like, to me, Austin Eckler shouldn't be your every down back. You need a thumper, a guy that's going to take the beating and go and get you those first downs. They were trying to use Austin Eckler on Saturday. Dan and Diego said it before. You're going to use him as a thumper, and it's not going to work out. And besides, Austin Eckler's body towards the end of the season, you can tell, is beat up.
Yeah.
And he's a kind of like hyperbolic time chamber Dragon Ball Z to come back and have his body healthy again. But it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, coaches know.
This is why you listen to What's Up Boats. I'm not trying to cut you off right now, but that's a good point. A great point. I did not even think about that because Austin Eckler, all he kept complaining about last year was like, I need help. I need help. And I don't think Joshua Kelly was the answer to help out.
Yeah.
But make sure to check out What's Up Boats on Spotify, YouTube.
Yeah, appreciate it. Well,
I have a podcast. And real quick, Fernando, that last podcast you guys dropped to kind of sum up the season did well. Is by far you guys' best podcast. You guys doubled the numbers. And that's a credit to you and your brother, Dan and Daygo, and for the support that you're getting out on What's Up Boats. We appreciate everybody because you're supporting Fernando, you're supporting me, and I love it.
Yeah, no, we have great listeners. They're awesome. They really, and they stay engaged. I mean, they hit up Dan or they hit up myself, and they're always great. So definitely, we're so lucky to have these listeners who really, I mean, they care. Karen, another Karen loves sports. Obviously, Karen's always been a huge fan. We love Karen. She always shouts us out. And Gilbert, I think pretty soon they told you they got to 200 subscribers. That Herbert shirt is gonna find
crown
a
winner on What's Up Boats. Yeah,
they took your challenge and they said eat this, and boom, they got up to, I think, 220. I think we're at 220 now, so they double they went past what you wanted. So definitely we have some great people listening. But now let's jump over to a House of Horns topic. Sean McVay says he's going to return for 2023. That's interesting. I think Sean is so competitive that he didn't want to go out a loser, and people kind of say, oh, you're going to go out. You lost your first season. Now look at you. You're going to tuck tail and run. My question is, though, how much of this thing can he keep together? That's the question. Can he keep this thing together? And I know people were freaking out. Was it yesterday when Aaron Donald supposedly switched to former NFL player? And so I'm interested to see if Aaron Donald's going to want to stay and do this again. Jalen Ramsey kind of posted a cryptic message or something the other day that sounds like he may not come back. By the way, little Daniel tells me, he's like, hey, I saw this like mock thing where the Chargers could trade for Jalen Ramsey and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, stop. I was like, that's a lot of salary to take on, especially with the guys that you already have on salary. And he's like, no, but if you trade your first round draft pick, I'm like, no, I'd be surprised if they went after Jalen Ramsey. Like, it'd be a good move. The guy showed you he can still ball, he can still play, but I'd be surprised. But I'm interested to see what the future is of this team. And like I said, I think Baker Mayfield should stay. Now that Sean McVay said he's going to stay, I think Baker Mayfield should stay. Interested to see what Matthew Stafford's going to do. I think once we get closer to training camp, he's gonna see if his body really can go or not, and we'll see what this year brings for Sean McVay. But I don't know if we'll see a redemption year, just because I want to see what that roster is going to look like. Can you fix the offensive line? Can you fix the defense? The defense needs help. Is Raheem Morris going to come back? Are you going to let him go? And are you going to bring in a new defensive coordinator? So there's a lot of questions about this defense and about this team that I still need answered. But hey, the first step that you got was the okay that Sean McVay's coming back, and that's obviously a positive because you don't need to bring in a new face. The guy knows it. The guy knows the city. He knows the team. So that was the one positive. You bring back Sean McVay.
Even when the Rams are losing and they're not even in the playoffs, they're still trying to make headlines. Seeing the whole Aaron Donald thing was annoying. But part of me is like, why did they do that? That was so weird. Where he goes from like former defensive lineman for the Rams, and then people start catching wind of it, and they change it immediately. Too. Yeah, I think you know how Marshawn Lynch was trying to retire during the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and he didn't want to have attention. Maybe he was trying to do that. But then his wife comes out and says, like, okay, everybody chillax. The whole Michael Scott thing, chillax. And so that makes me go, okay, he's not going to retire. But then who wrote former on his profile? It's just weird. I forgot about it. Like, I was really trying to enjoy my weekend. I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. So you just remember, I really forgot it in my brain. And real quick on McVay, on Friday, I was actually driving somewhere and had to stop. So I did work this week. And do a story on Sean McVay returning.
So what did you pull out your like in your car? You pulled it out and you just wrote it there, or?
Well, luckily I was driving. I was gonna go to Anaheim, and I was going through Pasadena, so I know the area very well. And I went to a Starbucks. I pulled up there, and I had my laptop. I always take my laptop everywhere. If I'm not on official vacation and I got called out for reals, I need my laptop everywhere because you never know what happens. I had it ready. Went to like a Starbucks and wrote Sean McVay is coming back. And honestly, I was surprised, Fernando, because he sounded like a guy who was ready to leave. Like, he was very public about everything. Like, when the whole Amazon thing wasn't public because it was after the Super Bowl, so he wasn't talking to reporters. This one, he spoke to us. And, I asked him one time, I was like, hey, do you ever question if you were going to be a coach because you were just so beat up this past year? Or I asked him one time, I was like, hey, did you think in that Seattle game that was your last play call, your last play, anything? And he was just, kind of annoyed. And then Monday comes and he's just super honest. I'm like, this is a very open conversation. So it made me feel like dude is gone. So when he said he's coming back, I started thinking like, it has to be the whole, you can't leave on the loser.
He's going to come back like Eric Bischoff. He's going to be like, Gilberto, I'm back and I'm better than ever.
Well, it was funny too.
Right at you.
It was funny because, like I told you, I was pretty late to the locker room clean out. Yeah. My plane was delayed, and I was like, man, I'm missing the presser. And he mentions my name. He's like, yeah, like Gilberto said the other day. Is that your last play call? Like, no, I'm 36, man. I have too much energy, and like he made it clear too at the same time that he's gonna keep coaching. But to me, it's kind of like pause a couple years, come back and coach, and do whatever Sean Payne's doing. Yeah, he's a young dude, but then I think you're on to something where like you can't leave on your core. Like this old unit. It's not an old unit, but it's a veteran group is a better word.
Yeah.
Ramsey, Donald, Bobby Wagner, Stafford.
What?
He didn't want to leave those guys on an island, so maybe he was like, all right, I'll stick around for another year. But the thing, Fernando, is like, do you want to keep doing this every single year if you're the Rams?
If he has another one next year, like another stinker, then I think he really will be like, you know what, freak. Like I need some time off. Like I need to go relax. Maybe he'll go to Thailand with Cliff Kingsbury for a little bit. But
can you see Sean McVay trying to search for Cliff in Thailand? Like, hey, come be my OC. Come over here, man.
Dude, I'm honestly like, I'm surprised. You would think Cliff Kingsbury, but I guess see that's how much damage I think like some of these young coaches take. Because Cliff Kingsbury to say like, dude, I'm gonna take a year off, like, and who knows if he does take the year off or if he decides to like stay in Thailand for a while. But for him to say at his young age, like, hey, I'm gonna take a year off, like that means that Kyler Murray did a number on him. Like,
Well, that too, but it just shows you that we're like they're like the Gen Z of coaches,
yeah,
right? Like they're still
exactly.
different. Like they're not like the
They're
old
willing
school,
to
like
take a
I'm gonna get
break.
tired. Like
When
I'm
it's like all we know is like gas pedal and that, like all we know is gas pedal, like hurry, like take off, like there's no brakes, there's no this, there's no that, and like these guys are like, you know what, I'm gonna chill for. Well, I mean, they're also millionaires, so
catch me in
obviously
Thailand.
yeah, exactly. And hey, they're gonna have fun out there. But obviously, another good episode of or another good segment of Compas on the LA Beat. Now it's time for Compas on the NFL.
Been waiting on this one.
Gilbert, what is your biggest takeaway from Super Wildcard Weekend?
Oh yes, thank you, Victor producer. Put some respect on the Dallas Cowboys and keep my other team out of. I don't want to say that. It sounds weird. I was trying to do a Will Smith joke, but they're not really my team. But I like to support the Cowboys this year because I just like something about this year Cowboys team. And Fernando and your brother Dan Daygo, you guys laughed at me saying, do you know who Tom Brady is? You know who Tom Brady is doing? You know what he's done in his career? You guys were at fault, especially Dan Daygo. He wants to get a degree in history. You were too focused on history. I'm worried about the present. This team is so much better than the Buccaneers, and they showed it on Monday Night Football. You don't lose 9 games on accident, Fernando. You don't win 12 games on accident either. I'm not calling the Cowboys a great team, but they're a good team. That Buccaneers team is a pretty bad team. Maybe they're below average. I don't want to call them super bad, but when you can't run the football and you become one-dimensional and you're relying on your 45-year-old quarterback to do all your work, it's just a bad recipe, Fernando. So I don't know how far the Cowboys could go, but I just want to say I was proven right. And I just want to say, Fernando, you want to call me amazing, a brilliant football mind? What do you want to say to me right now?
It stops in San Francisco.
Okay.
It ends in San Francisco.
I'm talking about right now.
It ends in San Francisco.
Okay. If you want to go.
No, I'll give you credit. I mean, you've been calling the Cowboys all season, but there's something about them that I just still don't believe in. But man, I could see why Tom. You know, it's funny. In one off season, they've really depleted that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Like they had JPP and Ndamukong. They had all these like ballers on their team. Their offensive line has been riddled with injuries, and it's like, wow, like that's what it takes to like literally to have a bad team. I mean, they couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop anything that the Cowboys were doing. They were letting CeeDee Lamb walk into the end zone with a free touchdown. They were doing all kinds of stuff. Like literally every side that I don't know if Tom Brady was trying to play like whack-a-mole or whatever, but every time he would like Micah Parsons was sent on the left side, he'd try and throw a pass, Micah Parsons would knock it down. He'd line up on the right side, he'd try and throw a pass on the right side, and then he'd knock it down. I'm like, what the hell? Like, why aren't you going the opposite side of Micah Parsons? Like, why are you going at him? Like, what are you trying to prove?
Fernando, you know this well. When you become one-dimensional pass
they couldn't run the football.
They can't run it, and
their best weapon was check down to a freaking running back and have the running back jump into
that is so weird. How couldn't they figure out how to run the football a little better? Like,
I don't get it.
Fournette had like one good playoff season, and like they kept saying, you know what, just keep trying to find that. And
they called him Playoff Lenny too.
Yeah, but he can't do it, and people are making fun for being out of shape. But I don't know, Fernando, but you just don't lose 9 games on accident, and it really showed today.
Yeah. Well, my takeaway was, and obviously this game kind of freaking killed it for me, but I thought I don't think the games were as bad as what people thought. Everybody thought that almost all the games were going to be blowouts. The San Francisco one wasn't a blowout until about the third quarter. The Charger one was obviously the best game of the weekend. The
Bengals Ravens
Buffalo Bills and the Dolphins came pretty close. The Vikings and the Giants was very close. Even the Baltimore Ravens, and by the way, J.K. Dobbins, you're a dude. Like he came out and he said, I should have gotten the ball on that goal line. Like, why did I not get like him? Guys like him, Joey Bosa, like some of these guys who tell it how it is. You got respect for me. Like I love when players do that. Because
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was gonna be my actual takeaway before the Cowboys did what they did. And come on, like if you're Greg Roman, whoever's calling that play for the Ravens, are you really gonna put that on the quarterback?
That's not Lamar Jackson, homie.
Yeah,
that's not Lamar.
Jeez. And shout out to J.K. Dobbins for speaking your mind.
Then he's a yard behind like the goal line, and he puts the ball out. Like, dude, you're not 6'7". You can't just stretch out. You're not gonna be like Michael Jordan in Space Jam, and then magically your arm's gonna stretch out and you're gonna get it over the goal line. Like, get out of here. So
you know where I really learned like you cannot do that with the football at the goal line. Remember that one year where Austin Eckler had like 3 fumbles at the goal line in 2020, and he just kept trying to do it every time.
Do you remember? Have you watched the Mighty Ducks #2, right?
I lose track of them.
It's
but
been a while. Okay, so obviously Gordon Bombay tells Kenny, we're in trouble. We need you to do something against Iceland. He's like, I can do a double figure. I can split the defenders, get through them, and I'll score the goal. He's like, all right, show it to me. He goes up, tries to do the trick. The 2 Iceland guys come in and nail him and hit him, and he like falls over and he comes out all hurt. That's what it reminded me of Austin Eckler when he tried to go over the. Remember one time he tried it in Detroit. He tried to go over the pylon, and they made him fumble, and he just fell and he got hurt, I think, on the play. So that's exactly what that reminded me of. So I definitely it's crazy. But obviously, let's move on. Gilbert, the AFC is loaded with young quarterbacks. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun for years. As we head into the divisional round of the playoffs, all 4 signal callers are under the age of 27. Mahomes is the old man, being 27. Allen is 20. Josh Allen 26. Joe Burrow 26, and Trevor Lawrence 23. Which team from the 4 quarterbacks is in the best position to win multiple Super Bowls in the next 5 years, Gilbert?
This is a tough question, especially in the NFL. Things change so much. Players kind of get old quicker. Salary cap is always a problem. You got to pick and choose who you want to pay. Injuries occur. I feel like they're all in a good spot, but I'm just gonna go with Joe Burrow. I feel like he has like the better players around him, like Jamar Chase, like T. Higgins. I think one of you guys told me earlier T. Higgins might be a free agent, so that's gonna be the dilemma there. But they're the most balanced. I don't know what's going on with Joe Mixon's contract situation. They're willing to spend money now. They try to spend money on the offensive line. They just didn't really work out this year. But part of me, it's a tough question. They all have talent. They're all good quarterback, and the window's always changing. Oh, now I remember why I chose the Bengals, because Joe Burrow said flat out the window's always open. So I'm just take his answer, and I believe the guy.
I went with Trevor Lawrence, and the reason why is because he's going to be on a rookie contract for a lot longer than most of those guys. I'll say, and they're already starting something really nice. Like I said, they're a year ahead of schedule. But man, if Vic kind of said, like, and I know Dan and Daygo took the Jaguars. If the Jaguars upset Kansas City, then damn, like this offseason, you have to go get some ballers for this kid. Like, I'm telling you, if Jacksonville could go out and make that trade for a certain wide receiver in Arizona, and you put another weapon or two with him, man, that offense is going to be very explosive. The defense just needs one or two more pieces as well, but they have such a good nucleus. They have a good team, and Doug Peterson knows what he's doing out there with these guys. But
it's funny to me that you guys really think that the Jaguars could win multiple Super Bowls.
You never know.
This is how far we've come off of one playoff win. And I think you guys really put a lot of stock into these rookie contract quarterbacks. Like, if you look at the history, like it's a lot of big time quarterbacks that win the Super Bowl. It's not really a rookie.
No, it's basically Tom Brady, and that's it.
And he's not a rookie contract. I don't know why you guys keep going off of that.
No, but I'm talking about
last year.
No. But Patrick Mahomes went on his rookie deal. There's other guys that have won off their rookie deal. But I'm saying, like,
if you look at it, it's split because Tom Brady makes a whole other half, but I think you guys make too much of it. And you gotta have your quarterback, you gotta pay for it. And I'm not picking the Jaguars franchise over the Chiefs or even the Bengals or I guess the Buffalo Bills. But the Jaguars, come on.
What if he never wins the championship again? Mahomes.
But do you really have trust in the Jaguars to win?
You have trust in the Chiefs to win one more? You think they're gonna win?
That's an easy one. But because he's older, the question was 5 years, and it got a little tough.
His contract is about to weigh down on the team after this offseason.
They got rid of Tyreek Hill, and they're still in this spot. It's always excuses like, you got to pay your quarterback. You can't do this and that. You can make it work. The good GMs, the good coaches, they make it work. Okay,
well, why are you shitting on my answer? I mean, it's my answer. It's what I want. Because what I heard. So I'm supposed to trust the Cincinnati Bengals, who have never won a Super Bowl before. I'm supposed to trust that they're going to win one.
That's why I'm saying this question is tough. But I will, if Mahomes was younger, I will go with the Chiefs. Also, too, the Bills have never won a Super Bowl either.
Oh, exactly.
But I just don't see the Jaguars winning multiple Super Bowls.
I don't see the Cincinnati Bengals winning multiple Super Bowls.
Burrow's in the Super Bowl last year.
Winning. Charlie Sheen, winning.
I just want to say you guys talk way too much about rookie contracts. But
why?
Okay. I don't know.
It's fun.
We'll see.
We'll
see what happens. But it could be a good year for a rookie contract too.
You never know. The Compa of the week, Gilbert. Who are you picking this? Who stood out to you this weekend?
Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones, and we covered him on our YouTube Shorts previews that we were doing for this week. And I get it was the Vikings defense, but for him, a guy who was like a top 10 pick, I forget, Fernando, and to like really just be up and down sporadically, number 6, and to be up and down so much to win a road playoff game, that's big. A lot of quarterbacks don't do that. Danny Dimes is going to be a free agent on a rookie contract. Maybe he could go all the way.
I still remember when he was drafted.
Everybody was shocked.
Everybody was they were so pissed when he got selected. Like they were like, "What the hell's going on?" So I definitely, I mean, hey, things can change. Things can change quickly, and I mean, Danny Dimes has really turned. I think he's turned things around. I definitely watch here. Let me bring this up real quick, just so that we can all reminisce.
You always got a video on deck.
Yeah.
Select Daniel Jones, quarterback. Dude,
no!
The pick into a frenzy. Daniel Jones.
Come on!
Giants fans were livid because Daniel Jones was rated as a third-round quarterback. The Giants took him 6th in the first round.
It's a wonderful thing. Need and values
the genius, Dave
Gettleman. In a number of head-scratching moves by the GM, who said goodbye to the most prolific Giants on both sides of the ball.
Let's go to.
By the way, I'm so annoyed when I'm done with OBJ.
Oh my god! But it's so much fun to see like fans melt down. But I'm gonna go with Sam Hubbard. Heads up play, dude. You saw the fumble, you took it, you ran, you had to do the gas mask. There's no flexing on the camera. Definitely great to see that. So heads up play, you ran it back, and now you're on your way to play in Buffalo. And
he's from Cincinnati. Buffalo. I love that the announcer called that, and like, hey, he's a Cincinnati kid taking the back. And
that's awesome.
Fernando, you were listening the full time, but Al Michaels and Tony Dungy was a snooze fest. To hear Mike Tirico on that call, that's what you want to hear from an announcer.
Dude, you should have heard Dan and Daygo. Thanks, Al. Thanks. And then he's like, Tony Dungy, go to the old people's home. Like, you're done. Like, I'm telling you, you've never like had a game until you listen to it with him. When you hear it with him, like he just craps all over the announcers. He's like, Al, isn't the retirement home ready for you? Like, get out of here. He's like, go announce that they're serving beans in the dining hall.
Just such an ageist, Dan and Daygo.
Oh, he's hilarious. But you know what? Let's go to him now, Gilbert. Let's go to Dan and Daygo and see what kind of wild things he's got cooking up.
What can I tell you? All we do is excellence on this program. We are A1. Everyone else is the 2s, and we're the 1. Let me tell you who else is the 1. Homage. Just look at this thing right here. You've already seen Dan and Daygo wear the awesome Justin Herbert, the awesome NFL Jam t-shirt. They have great t-shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, whatever you want. And don't worry, if you're only worried that they only do Charger things, they have it all. They got wrestling, all 32 teams. They got 90s reference. They have all pop culture stuff. Go out and check them out. And by the way, while you're checking them out, in the link in the description, go ahead and hit it. Treat yourself. Do us a favor, like, subscribe, pound the like button. I already said that to begin with, but that's all right. Let me remind you. Also, go out and check our social media. Your boys are on every single platform. On the Instagrams, at Compas on the Beat. What? On the TikToks at Compas on the Beat? What? On the Twitter at Compas OTB? What? We are everywhere. Do us a favor. Be a Compa, tell a Compa. Let's get back to the program.
Gilbert, we come back. Thanks to Dan and Daygo for that. We come back. I wish we could have some real fire. Now it's time for rapid fire. Exactly. The 7 seeds are now 0-6 since the playoffs were expanded to 7 teams in each conference. How long will it be before a 7 seed finally breaks through and beats a number 2 seed, Gilbert?
Before I guess, I don't like the new format. It just leads to some clunky
weird.
games. That extra week is terrible. But I guess it's kind of like in NCAA tournament where the number 1 loses to the 16. That happened before, so I don't know. Give it another 4 or 5 years. I don't know.
I think it'll be closer. It'll be closer than that. I'm interested to see. I want to see somebody knock somebody off, but I'm pretty sure it's coming. We're close to it, so I'm going to be an optimist, and I'll say that next season we will see a 7 seed knock off a 2 seed. Gilbert, NFL officials informed all 32 owners that they have spent over $800 million on fired coaches and front office executives over the last 5 years. Why do you think the NFL officials made it a point to make this public? And should there be changes or penalties for spending over a certain amount of money on fired coaches and executives?
I'm not sure why they decided to do that. Maybe it's a way to tell people believe in your coaches longer, save your money. I really don't know. It's kind of a weird thing to say. Maybe they should focus more on helping minorities get jobs, but they've been terrible at that too. They can't figure that out either. They're awful. And I don't have that much hope for this year too. This cycle here, I really don't know what to say here. It just shows you that some people don't have patience, some people do, and I think it just depends on who you are. And it kind of like goes into the Brandon Staley thing. Like people are saying like, hey, they gotta fire him, and then it's kind of like, oh, you gotta give a guy more than 2 years. So it's just tough.
You know what it is, right?
No.
Patience, grasshopper. Take the seed from my hand. Try and take it. They're trying to preach patience. Look at the Houston Texans. 2 coaches in a row they fired after 1 year. What?
That's why they did it. The Houston Texans fired back-to-back coaches.
Exactly. Matt Rule was given a 7-year contract by Carolina, I think, and they fired him after 2 or 3 years. So I mean,
go off of that because Dan Campbell got 7 years and he's doing great.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know about great. He's doing good. He's doing an okay job, but sometimes those ex players are too loyal, and that's kind of the problem sometimes, and that's why they get in trouble.
I wonder how you would be as an owner. Were you patient? Are you patient, or are you kind of like, all right, get your ass out of here?
I'm patient in my vision. So like I do sometimes get a little bit annoyed, like maybe with my own, like what I'm doing currently or whatever. Sometimes I do get annoyed with certain circumstances. But other than that, I mean, you have to be patient. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So it's like you got to take it easy, take deep breaths, and if you believe in your vision, if you believe in what you're doing, and you're positive in your that you've learned from past experiences, then you should be fine, and you should just full steam ahead. But I do think patience is a big thing, and I think we've lost patience. That's why the college game, they're not teaching quarterbacks, and I know it's rapid fire, and I went over, but in the they're not teaching quarterbacks how to play football anymore. They're teaching them how to win games because coaches don't have that life expectancy. Life expectancy, I mean, as a head coach, not as in life, but they don't have the life expectancy that they used to have. They used to give coaches 10 years, like Lou Holtz with the Notre Dame. He was he got multiple years. Guys had multiple years to figure it out. Now we don't have that. We've lost patience. And if a guy is not winning in 2 years, boom, you're kicked out and you're gone. Now, obviously, the Brandon Staley stuff is different just because of certain circumstances. But yeah, does he deserve? If Dean Spanos and the Chargers believe in his vision, they believe in what he's building. If the players believe in what he's building and in his vision, then continue it. Screw the outside noise. Don't listen to what they're saying. Do your thing and follow full course ahead if that's what you believe. If you believe that you need Sean Payton and you need to go out and spend the money and get the head coach of your dreams that you've never had before in franchise history, then do it. Fire Brandon Staley. Go out and get the head coach that you want and bring him in. I mean, it's you believing in your vision. Don't listen to the outside noise. You be you, and don't worry about what others have to say about the decisions that you make.
Wow, I'm just suddenly inspired. Thanks for sharing that.
Well, the fourth highest paid quarterbacks have all failed to make the playoffs. Gilbert, surprise, surprise. Aaron Rodgers, $50 million.
This is for you and Victor on the rookie contract crowd.
This is what are you talking about? This is for this extensions. The people that you think are going to make it, but don't make even the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers, $50 million. Russell Wilson, 49. Kyler Murray, 46. Deshaun Watson. Which of the four quarterbacks will get their team in the playoffs next season?
Man, this is really bad. This is tough, and it kind of goes to your guys' side. We're like, you got to go on the rookie contract. But you got to pick the right one. And to me, I'm not going to believe in Kyler Murray. I'm not going to believe in Deshaun Watson. Who's the other one besides Aaron Rodgers? I forgot already.
Mr. Unlimited.
I'm not even sure he could. Something's off with him. I don't know. It's play. And if I thought he could, like, say that the team was failing him and he was playing his best, I would have gone easy to Russell Wilson. But he's off right now. The only one that's playing decent is Aaron Rodgers. He's the oldest one from the four. But again, we don't know where he's going to be, right? He might be on a different team. But say he's in Green Bay or say he's on a different team, I'm going Aaron Rodgers. He's the one that shows he can at least make it to the playoffs. He doesn't win it, but he'll make it, except this year. Sorry.
I'm with you. I don't believe in the other three quarterbacks. I'll say Aaron Rodgers, but if he switches teams, I don't think he can do it in Green Bay. I really don't. I don't believe in the future of Green Bay and what they have. So moving forward, I think he needs to get out.
Wow, really? The top four quarterbacks. Okay.
Gilbert, 6 teams have gone fishing after losing on Super Bowl wildcard weekend. What team from the 6 will win a playoff game next season?
Yeah, here's some positivity. Chargers. They were by far the best team that got eliminated. I shouldn't say by far because I got in trouble last time. But they were probably the best team of the weekend to be kicked out, unless I'm missing somebody else, Fernando. If it doesn't come to mind. They were supposed to win that game. They were supposed to beat the Jaguars. And when you have Justin Herbert, you always have a chance. It's like Joe Burrow saying he has a window. Obviously, he has a better window. And no, they're frauds. Don't get me started with the frauds. But you're still gonna have Justin Herbert at the end of the day, and that gives me all the confidence that they're probably gonna be the best team from that group they got eliminated to win a playoff game.
I'll say the Dolphins get a new quarterback next offseason and they win a playoff game. There's too much talent on that team not to. I think I saw that Mike McDaniel may go out and get a new defensive coordinator, maybe help get more pieces. I think they need to get off the Xavier Howard contract. I think Xavier's done. So I think they need to go get a new quarterback, have a new system, and I think they'll win a playoff game next offseason with a new quarterback.
A lot of moving parts.
I know, exactly. Gilbert, obviously, Tom Brady was eliminated by your Dallas Cowboys. So obviously, this is he was asked about his future, and here is the video at the end of his press conference on Monday. Bro, I got everything
on deck.
This is what he had to say.
Guys, for everything this year. I really appreciate all your effort, and I know it's hard for you guys too. It's hard for us players to make it through, and you guys got a tough job, and I appreciate all that you guys do to cover us and everyone who watches and is a big fan of the sport. We're very grateful for everyone's support, and hopefully I love this organization. It's a great place to be, and thank you everybody for welcoming me, all you regulars, and just very grateful for the respect, and I hope I gave the same thing back to you guys. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Wow. Thanking the media. I like it.
You know, it's funny. Joey thanked us 3 or 4 times. He's like, hey, I just want to thank you. And you know how Joey is, but he's not a guy that BS's. And he's like, hey, really appreciate what you guys did this year. Like, you guys are honestly so fair to us, and you guys do a great job in covering us. So thank you guys. And I was like, oh, wow. Some guys thanked us. Braden Fayoko thanked us. Some other guys, and I was like, oh, wow, I mean, this is good. I just don't want them to think, oh, we're just shoving microphones in your face and stuff. So I thought it was really nice from Brady, but it kind of sounded like a goodbye to the organization. It sounds like he's going to move on.
Yeah.
What do you think? Oh, my bad. I didn't ask you a question.
No.
Where do you think Tom Brady plays next season? If so, where, or does he finally retire?
All you did was confuse me with that video, because it sounds like he likes it a lot there too, where he wants to stay and make it work. But then it's like there were just so many bad parts to it. I'm not even sure he likes to coach. I don't even know he likes Todd Bowles. And then saying thank you to the media, that sounds like maybe a guy who's ready to retire. So I'm all over the place here. So I'll just say this: you could go have the fun one. I'm gonna say he either comes back with the Buccaneers or he retires. That's it.
I'm gonna say this. I just don't see him going to the Raiders just because. And I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, but he's Tom Brady." Yeah, but why do you want to mess with Patrick Mahomes? Why do you want to mess with Justin Herbert? Like, even Russell Wilson. Like, why do you want to mess with any of that? I wouldn't if I was him. Even though, I mean, who knows? Maybe you can get Gronk back out of retirement. But if I was him, I think the 49ers are what would attract me the most. They have a defense that's already built. He's going to take less money. You get off of that Jimmy G contract. I'm sure he'd take 20-25 million to play. Maybe, or who knows, maybe the 49ers trade and try and bring in Mike Evans with him, or try and bring in more weapons to kind of help him out. But I really do think he would do well with the 49ers. But the thing is, the 49ers can't win the Super Bowl, because you can't win the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy and then be like, oh, hey, we're gonna get Tom Brady.
Let's say Purdy gets to the Super Bowl and you've shown that you could do it on a rookie contract, like you guys keep talking about. Do you really go after Tom Brady if you got to the Super Bowl with Purdy?
But do they win the Super Bowl or do they lose it?
No, they got there though.
I think, but then people are going to be like, well, maybe we're a Tom Brady away from getting over the hump and winning it all.
That's true. But the other thing too, like, he has to keep ignoring it. But I keep saying it, eventually Father Time's going to get you. And I won't be the guy. I don't want to be the guy worried about it coming this year. It hasn't came yet because he played great this year. It's not his fault. The Bucs suck. But it's going to get you eventually. Do you want to be the team that comes and you have Tom Brady and then finally Father Time got him? It's going to be tough. It's tough.
I would risk it. But then the thing is too, Mike McGlinchey can't be your right tackle. Like, you need to go out and get a right tackle that is a lot better.
They can run
to
the
protect
football,
Tom Brady.
They can run. They can run the football though. That's a big thing.
They can run they run the football well. They have man. Can you imagine George Kittle and Brady? And then can you imagine? Let's just say he's able to get Gronk. Let's just say Gronk does come back for maybe one more run. That's what he was missing this year, I think. Gronk.
Right. I guess if you're 50, you can play in that offense. That's okay.
You come and you go and get Gronk. You bring him in. Gronk and Kittle. You have Christian McCaffrey. You have Elijah Mitchell. And then remember, a lot of guys like to take pay cuts to come and play with Brady to try and win a Super Bowl. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind. And then obviously Tom could be near his mother. And I don't think his mother travels anymore ever since she's had cancer. So Tom could play in his hometown for his hometown team. Yeah. And, hey, he can maybe break the curse. There hasn't been a Super Bowl winner since Steve Young won the Super Bowl last against the Chargers in '94. So maybe he breaks the curse because Colin Kaepernick and Jimmy G couldn't do it.
It sounds like a future question. Who will be the quarterback of the 49ers? Jimmy G, Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, Tom Brady.
What? So obviously, good discussion, Gilbert. That's obviously great stuff. But now it's time to bring in Vic, the producer.
Hey,
made the sauce.
Yes, I do.
Vic, how was your weekend?
Pretty good. Got to enjoy Super Wild Card weekend on a rainy weekend here in LA. Not complaining, but it was pretty good to have those 3 days. It was different, but I enjoyed it, especially finishing off with that Monday night game between the Buccaneers and the Cowboys.
You also chose it correctly too.
Yes, I did.
This guy did not choose correctly on Monday Night Football.
Let's freaking go. Look at him not even letting me get to this stage without throwing his hatred towards me and everything else, all his ray gun of negativity. It's unbelievable. I know you're intimidated, guy. I know there's too much testosterone in this lower square for you to handle. It's all good. Don't worry. I got my shield and it just bounces off.
I'm not gonna go off on you when your team just blew a 27-point lead. So I'm gonna go.
Here we go. Here we go with him lashing out, trying to be hurtful, but I'm not gonna take a bait. I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm looking. This guy. come
That
back
wasn't
using
me.
the soundboard against
I
me. You know what? I don't know how much more I can tell you this. I'm not going to let out any spoilers, but it's for the betterment of the program, I guess. Whatever.
The Cowboys will work with Maher after missing the 4 extra points. They're not going to cut him. They're gonna try and find solutions.
No.
It's too late now.
I was
Yeah.
gonna lose it when
late.
it was a 4th down. He's gonna come out for the field goal. You need to go for it, and they did.
You know what I thought? I thought at the end of that game they were gonna need a field goal to win it, and I was like, okay, well,
That was going to be hilarious.
Yeah,
Dude, when they were up like 24-0, I'm like, Tom Brady's still over there. They keep messing up with the field goals, and I don't know. That was stressful as a supporter of the Cowboys.
no, I completely agree with you. All right, Vic, what was your biggest takeaway from this NFL weekend?
No, for me, it was the young quarterbacks, all the 27 and under quarterbacks, in the AFC. If you don't have one, good luck for the AFC going forward, because, between Justin Herbert, you have Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. I mean, it's the NFC. I don't know how they're going to compete going forward, but in terms of the AFC, like if you're one of those teams, go and find a quarterback in the draft, because right now it's the AFC and the young quarterbacks that are going to be pretty much in control of the AFC for the next 5 years. And by the way, Gilbert, yes, rookie contracts is the new formula now for Super Bowl winning teams. As you forgot about Russell Wilson, and half
10 years ago.
the teams. By the way, half the teams that are left have quarterbacks on rookie contracts. Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, Trevor Lawrence.
You're telling me
Joe Burrow.
50-50. It doesn't matter. It's 50-50.
He's just huge. He's just huge. It does
Stafford-
matter. He's
Stafford
just
won it
huge.
last year, and Brady's won it pretty much every year. That's 50.
Yeah, okay, but what happened with Stafford?
Brady takes the pay cuts.
Success. Unsustained success for only one Super
You
Bowl.
Brady
can't
takes
bend
pay
the
cuts.
rules.
He doesn't-
It's either a rookie
Brady doesn't-
Mind
contract
you,
or
it's
not.
worth it.
Brady
Mind
doesn't
you,
take.
it's worth it, but it's
Brady
not
isn't.
sustainable.
Brady's an
You're gonna
outlier
put
though,
too
because
much
he
stock on the
takes
rookie
pay cuts.
contract. You got to pay your quarterback.
Brady takes pay cuts though, so he's an outlier.
But
Brady always
but
takes
you
pay
guys said it's a
cuts.
rookie contract or nothing.
No,
Like,
I didn't
No, I
necessarily
say
say
you
that.
either have to
No,
take a
because
pay cut.
Nick Foles isn't going to get paid all that money. Nick Foles didn't get paid all that money.
Nope.
Tom Brady doesn't make all that money. So, like, we're talking about the guys that get maxed out. Those guys usually don't win Super Bowls. Maxed out. It's
Yeah, there
hard
we
for
go.
them to win Super Bowls.
that's fair, but you can't say you have to have a rookie contract. There's
No.
other
Nobody
ways
said.
around it.
Nobody said that.
No, the
That's
formula
the biggest
is
and best window. My bad, Vic, to cut you off. That's the
no.
biggest.
I
and
was
best
just gonna
window.
say the formula since the new cap is you either have a quarterback on a rookie contract or you have a quarterback who's on a team friendly deal. If you're making above $30 million, that team is not going to win a Super Bowl.
It's hard.
I don't know. We saw Stafford do it, but I guess not.
Here
Took
we
a
go
pay
again.
cut too.
Here we go again.
I don't know.
Dude, do you not listen? I just told you that's unsustained success. They have no future.
You
no
can't
matter
rely
if
on the
they
Brock
come
Purdy
back.
every single year. You got to have your quarterback. You guys are just being
Bro,
cheap
but
owners.
if you have a
don't wanna
Brock
pay.
Purdy, if you have a Brock Purdy on a 4-year contract, you're telling me you can't stack a team in 4 years to be competitive and win at least one? It's
So
a
you're
lot
saying,
easier.
if the Chargers don't win a Super Bowl with Justin Herbert rookie contract, you're done. You're screwed. Like,
It's going to be a lot harder. Yeah. You tie up your whole franchise into one person.
Just-
What was Mahomes? It's like a fourth of their cap.
So if
is in-
Mahomes win it this year with that massive contract, are we done with saying you have to have this cheap contract to win
Mahomes
a
No,
is not
Super
gonna
Bowl?
win it this year, so don't worry.
Outlier.
Whatever. I'm just saying you guys are just too much on this rookie contract. There's other ways around.
No,
it.
I'm. You know what? I'm more on the Tom Brady. I think teams should take. I
Sure,
think
if you say
quarterbacks
that's
should
a better
take
way,
pay cuts.
but
If
that's
you wanna
not
win a
rookie
Super Bowl,
young
take a pay
quarterback.
cut.
That's an older veteran who's getting his money too. And sure, you want to go with that one. We've seen that more sample size, but that's also freaking Tom Brady. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, but
You're
that's what
telling
I'm
me
saying.
you can't make more money on endorsements anyway?
You
That
make
could be
money,
another
more
way.
money. Yeah, if you know how to, like Marshawn Lynch has never spent a dime off of his salary. It's all been off of endorsements.
Same with
Who?
Herbert, he's due for a contract. I wonder what happens with that.
He's gonna take a pay cut. No, I don't know.
I hope so. He's
Dan,
definitely a lot. Oh, okay.
What was your biggest takeaway from this weekend?
My biggest takeaway from this weekend is coaching matters. And we saw that this weekend. You don't need, and I've been saying this all along, you don't need these freaking number one overalls, these max contract type guys. You know, look what Kyle Shanahan's been able to do with the 49ers. He's kept them going, even though they've gone through 3 quarterbacks and have Mr. Irrelevant in there now. Why? I know this is going to hurt Gilberto's ears. Caveman football. You can run the football, and you have a dominant front 7.
So the guy who picks the Buccaneers to win the game in their last play.
Mr. Chairman, I reclaim my time. Don't let him take it. Look what happened, honestly, with Miami. Miami made a game out of it, obviously, dealing with Josh Allen's turnovers, but they made it a game with the third-string quarterback also. And, you know, that's sometimes people forget and don't understand. I mean, dude, the guy might have been high vaping, and he made a game out of it with the freaking Buffalo Bills, who's supposedly everyone's Super Bowl favorite. And so that's my thing. Coaching does matter. Look at the difference between Doug Peterson and Urban Meyer. That does take a big deal when trying to make sure your franchise is going in the right direction. You have to hire the right guy with the right vision.
Brian Dable.
I don't understand you guys. You guys want everything cheap and easy. Like, you guys are the ones. You want to have a good coaching and a bad roster, and the good coaching will get the maximize the best talent.
Why are you putting words in our mouths now? Like, what's going on?
It sounds like you want the Giants to win the whole thing. They're not going to win the whole thing because they have good coaching.
How do you know that?
He didn't say the Giants. He said he's talking about Trevor Lawrence, Doug.
I feel like Bud Kilmer right now.
No, but you're saying
you have a bad attitude and you don't listen. You don't listen.
You have to have talent too. You can't just be cheap on everything you do.
Who
you
is
have good
saying
coaching.
this?
What Daniel's saying is that you need good coaching to win football games. Like, that's why, like, what he's saying is basically the whole Brandon Staley versus Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson's been there. He's seen it all before. So he obviously is going to have an advantage over Brandon Staley, who's never been to the playoffs before. That's what Dan is saying, that you need.
But it sounded like, oh, you can't have, you don't have to have talented players and this and that. You got just have.
No. What he's saying is that you need a good.
Have dominant players or talented.
He's saying that you need a good defense, a good offensive line, and a run game to be able to win these games.
Stop moving the goalpost. Stop putting words in my mouth. This absolute manure.
Okay.
You're trying to trash me.
I was going to ask, when did Gilbert become yell at the cloud guy?
It's just, you guys keep saying, like, rookie contracts, minimize the player talent, whatever.
You're telling me it's not impressive what Brian Dable did with that roster?
Yeah. But they're not going to win. They're not going to win a Super Bowl.
And how do you know that? Do you have a crystal ball?
All right. Whatever.
You're interrupting.
By the way, shout out to Tony Jefferson from Chula Vista. He's on the Giants. We went to school together, actually.
There you go.
Now it's time for burial of the week.
What are we starting with?
I've been having my shovel ready for both of you.
Vic, I'm gonna let you start off because these two have been.
Gilberto's
I feel like what's the name from? I feel like what's the name from Around the Horn? Mute. Tony Reale. Go ahead, Vic.
For me, it's got to be. We need to bury the AFC South for getting picked on. And being the team that always has to play on Saturdays in the early window in the playoffs, like, whether it's been the Jaguars as it finally changed, but now they're back in it again. They're going to play in the early window on Saturday against the Chiefs.
Oh, let's go. He's undefeated. Vic told me that one. Let's go.
Oh, that's right. Trevor Lawrence has never lost on a Saturday, by the way. But yeah, like, I hope this now changes and we start to see the AFC South get out of that spot, because whether it's been the Texans, the Colts, or any of the other AFC South teams, they've always been put on Saturdays in the early window in the playoffs. So for me, let's get the shovel and make sure that the AFC doesn't have, unless it's a really bad, but I just feel bad for the AFC South. I feel like they kind of been labeled a Saturday afternoon team for the playoffs.
So where are you moving it to? Which division would you rather have on that Saturday?
Well, just pick a team that, or a game that isn't that great. Like, I mean, I'm glad they finally did it with the Jaguars. I mean, now that you have Trevor Lawrence, I hope that pretty much kills that from now on.
Okay, let's Saturday. Wow, that's gonna be interesting this
Let's
this
go.
weekend if
Love
he
and know.
if
It
he
had to be
stays
on
undefeated.
purpose.
Love and
Gilbert, your
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah. Okay. Since I've been getting on you guys, I'll take the L here. I'm always saying I hate when people cry about referees. Stop blaming referees. Okay, it's gotten pretty bad, and maybe because I tend to watch these games, humble brag, from the press box. I don't get to watch all these damn replays, and I don't get to hear the announcer just breaking down how awful that call is. It doesn't get in my brain as much. But I've been watching more football at home because, as you know, the Rams they're not in it. I'm not used to doing this, so it's, just to make fun, Fernando. But yeah, it was pretty bad refereeing, especially when I felt bad for Joey Bosa. And maybe I don't feel too bad, but this is my issue. When you're in a passionate, competitive game, your season's on the line, you're gonna throw F-bombs. You're gonna get upset. You can't be this like prideful, it's all about me referee guy. Like, did the guy just cuss me out? This guy gave me an F-bomb. What did you say? Like, he's coming to Joey Bosa saying, say something. Say, when are you part of the game? You're not part of the game unless you're just throwing the flags. You're not out there trash talking. That really kind of upset me. And then you throw the flag. So referees, get over yourself. You could take a couple F-bombs. It's okay. It's big boy football. Get over it. Sometimes some play callings or flags are tough to call. That one, you could have easily avoided it.
I completely agree.
Why'd
That
you
was
pull up the Shaq video, Frown?
and that's what he said too. He was like, "What?" He's like, "How can a referee get in my face like that and start yelling at me and telling me stuff like you're basically provoking me? And what do you think I'm gonna do? Back down on you? Heck no, I'm gonna keep on chirping." So yeah, it was pretty interesting. But yeah, go ahead, Vic.
I had a question for you guys. I've seen the refereeing getting worse and worse. Having a referee in the booth, has that helped or has that hurt refereeing, do you guys think?
I think it's gotten worse, but I've been telling Gilbert. I said, no, you know what? I said it to Dan and Daygo on What's Up Bolts. We're getting to the boiling point where players are starting to really chirp at these guys, and I just don't want anything physical to happen. But there's going to be a point where we're going to turn into like Brazil and Argentina, where they end up like messing up these referees because they make a bad call or whatever. But it's starting to get kind of bad. Like players are really coming out and they're really calling out these referees for all these plays. So I think the NFL needs to move into making these guys are part-time lawyers and doctors and all this stuff. They need to make full-time officials and have them go through courses. NFL players have to go through courses where don't lower your head, come up and tackle this way, do this, do all these courses. I bet you they don't make the referees do all those kinds of courses the way they do the NFL players.
And real quick,
The
Victor,
NFL
you mentioned this on the Rams Seattle game, and I saw a couple that were really bad, and you said no, there was like 7 that were really bad calls, and then somebody reported from ESPN saying that the Rams and the Lions were pissed off about the bad calls in the Seattle game because the Lions got screwed over, and it was just one example of so many bad games, so many referees, and I get it. So you're not gonna get everything, but I just keep going back to that one. Why are you in the face of a player? That's such an easy one to avoid. That referee should be, I don't know, fine. Something needs to happen because you can't be doing that. And then Joey Bosa is going off talking, and he's expecting a fine. You can't have it. You got to have it both ways. If that referee could do that and get in your face, you could criticize the referee and not worry about a fine.
I completely agree. I mean, it's ridiculous. But before we go to Dan and Daygo, he wants us to show a video that he wasn't too happy about.
Joke.
He ain't close. Like he may be in a math quiz or something like that, but this is football. This guy is so disrespectful to the game that the coaches that have coached prior to this guy, look, has he ever done it? I'm going to go for it on 4th down. I'm the guy. I don't care what Bill Parcells did, Bill Walsh, Bill Belichick, and anybody.
Any of the Bills.
Any of them. I don't care. I'm smarter than them. No, you're reckless. He's been reckless ever since he took the job. Now he's reckless with his health. A guy that's had a broken neck, by the way, Mike Williams, had back issues all the time, and he gets hurt in the last regular season game. Imagine that. But here's the deal. This guy, he doesn't – I don't think he respects the game because how do you not – like he needs to grow from it. He needs to grow from not being – I'm smarter than anybody else in the room. Do it. There's a reason why those guys won all those rings.
I'm sorry, I had to stop it there.
I've
Wow,
never
it's
heard
pretty
that.
nauseous. It's
I
pretty
didn't hear it
nauseous.
either. Holy crap.
Wow.
Dan, go
what's
ahead.
The worst part, I used to like Rex Ryan a lot. I thought he was a very good head coach, but him as an ass analysis is just unbelievable. What happened, seriously, to the renegade who said, I'm not here to kiss Bill Belichick's rings? What happened to the man who would cuss out players on HBO Hard Knocks and not give a damn about what anybody said? What happened to the man who would ignore the criticism of his attitude on the field and everything else? Disrespectful to the game. This guy's been coaching and climbing the ladder. You're telling me he's disrespectful to the game? I can't stand stooges like this who hate a different point of view of football. I've only had very limited problems with his going forward on fourth down, and I can name them off for you right now. Last year against the Chiefs before halftime, I would have preferred he kicked the field goal. I only had a problem with the play call against the Raiders on his own 20. And the other thing is, obviously, playing the starters week 18. I can't remember if there's another fourth down or not that I had a problem with, but that's about it. And I told you those three right there I had a problem with. And it's like, to say he's disrespectful to the game, to say he's reckless. I bet you this was one of the stooge who said at the beginning of last year, oh my God, this is so fresh. He's a genius. Oh my God, the ball's on this guy to go for it on fourth down and win these games. Because it's very easy, and this is what pisses me off the most, and I'll stand by it because I've said it before on this program. I'm a Brandon Staley guy, even though he's had to take his lumps recently, and I totally agree with that. I can still criticize the guy and, question some of those actions, but I still believe he has the right vision. Where does he get the audacity? It's very easy to criticize people when everything is going wrong. It's very easy. He had no alternative in there except what? Play conventional football? That's what he doesn't understand. That's what got the previous head coach fired from the Los Angeles Chargers, that he wasn't aggressive enough. He doesn't.
But that was his boy. But that was his boy too.
That's his
boy.
That's his boy.
But that's what I'm talking about. It's all bias. He has no idea what's going on anymore. He's trying to just stay relevant off of that HBO Hard Knocks profile. And honestly, I love the way Brandon Staley says, I'm not here to not lose games. I'm here to do everything possible to win games. And if that rubs people, mind you, I'm low IQ. I don't understand the mathematics behind it. But if my freaking gut tells me to go for it, I'm not sending out a kicker out there, period. I don't care what the media or anybody else tells me. That's my problem with it. It's not that he's reckless. It's that you don't understand the vision, and you are just so beholden to the past that you don't want to innovate or do anything else.
But you know what's crazy too? You know what's crazy too, though? They're going based off of what he did last year. This year, he barely went for it on fourth down.
Exactly.
He really didn't
all
that much. And last year, people forget, they wouldn't have been, Gilbert was there. They wouldn't have been 9-8 if they wouldn't have gone for it on numerous games. They might have been even worse than what they were.
And
so
real quick,
it's reckless what national TV guys are doing nowadays.
They don't watch all the games, and they pretend to.
That's my point. Brian Daboll and Kevin O'Connell in the Vikings-Giants game went for it often on fourth down, and everybody was praising, this is some good football. They're going for it. And all of a sudden, we're all okay with it? I don't know.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. They don't watch the game. I think they just go on YouTube. They look at the highlights and they're like, oh, okay, I know what my point's going to be. Or they look at what other people are saying. But I really don't think, and that's the problem with these national guys. They don't watch the games. They don't know what's going on. They just go based off of, oh, Brandon Staley went for it on fourth down last year. Let me just keep on going with that narrative. And I think it's really lazy what national media people are doing. I can't call them reporters. National media people are doing. They're just being lazy. Vic, my bad.
Can I just give my 2 cents here? Because I just wanted to say I was tweeting out most of that first half, and I was really impressed with what Brandon Staley was doing on defense. He wasn't the reason that they lost that game. The reason they lost that game was, he got out coached late in the game. He lost Michael Davis, and it changed his whole philosophy on defense. And then Joey Bosa had those two, bad, it was an offsides, and then the penalties also cost him. But in terms of Rex Ryan, I'll say this: John Harbaugh was the guy that was going for it for 2 points. Nobody said anything, but yet you have this new era of coaches, and they want to pick on on these new era of coaches as just because he was an offensive quarterback, when he played, and he's a defensive guy now. They want to pick on guys like that. I just I don't understand what the hate is with the Gen Z coaches. It's as Dan and Dago explained. Look, everybody does it their own way. It does just because you disagree with it, you don't have to bad mouth him. Like if he did something to one of your family members, like he was that clip sounded like he had said something bad about his family or something.
Yeah, Staley
Yeah.
took Anthony and Lynn's job, and they're boys. So that's
Well,
where
yeah.
that bias
Yeah,
came from.
He
basically.
went out of
But-
his way to bury him, and that's the freaking problem we have with
And real quick,
media today.
Dan, a good point, because when Rex Ryan was a fucking coach, sorry, freaking coach, that's how fired I am. When he was a freaking coach, he was the bad mother effer with no respect for the game, doing it his way, his vision, and you brought that point up, and all of a sudden now it's like, you got to follow the rules, man, pay your dues, respect.
Yeah, no,
Sorry for that.
Yeah, we forget
If he
what we
wants to talk
were
about
like when we had the headset.
decision-making, he wants to talk about decision making. If he doesn't have a stooge at quarterback for those AFC championships, he's winning Super Bowls.
That's true. All right, guys, it's time to move on to avocado. Oh no, my burial. My bad, I forgot.
He's got
Mine
too
is
long,
having
all of
time.
them.
Mine is having time off. Obviously, now the Charger season's coming to an end. I
That's a
have
burial?
nothing to do.
I thought he
I'm
was making fun of Gilbert.
no. I'm gonna be having to write stuff and everything, but I'm not really.
People who enjoy their times off or stooges. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm burying. No, it's mine. I'm doing myself. I don't like having time off. I like always being busy doing stuff. So obviously, this is gonna be these next 2 weeks are gonna be a little rough since there's gonna be nothing to do. These guys aren't in the
Just keep
playoffs anymore.
uploading
So.
all the channels that we have here, man. Post all the content you want.
This guy. So obviously it's gonna be a little tough. Well, I have other stuff to do, but I guess I'm just saying, like I'm gonna miss.
We're up to something.
You gotta figure out what we're gonna announce that too, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. All right, so obviously now it's time for avocado roast. Gilbert just won't stop roasting people for their opinions and what they have.
No, he's coming after us all.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I got time and I got receipts.
Yeah,
exactly.
for real.
Obviously, Eddie Murphy won the award for Cecil B. DeMille Award at the Golden Globes last weekend. Eddie Murphy to me is one of the most underrated actors in Hollywood. But Vic, I'm gonna let you take this one.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to spend a little time on his career, on Eddie Murphy's career. I mean, he's the reason why SNL survived for 5 years while Lorne Michaels kind of was, who knows where he went. He went away for 5 years. He's pretty much the guy the creator of SNL, and he kind of went away for 5 years. And he's the only cast member to host while being a member of because Nick Nolte was supposed to be on hosting duties for a Christmas episode in 1982, and he got ill. So Eddie Murphy was like, "Well, I'll host this," and he's part of the real reason why it survived for a while there. And then, I mean, his movie catalog in the 80s. I mean, you go from Trading Places, 48 Hours, Coming to America, Beverly Hills Cop. He had a great run, and then he kind of took a hiatus in terms of some of the movies that he was putting out weren't doing so good. That was from 89 to 98.
What was it, Mr. Pluto or something like that?
Yeah, he had a terrible run, like Beverly Hills
1,000
Cop
words.
3,
Yeah,
1,000 words. I mean, it was just like one bad movie after another. But then in 98, he comes back strong. He's got Shrek, Dreamgirls, Bowfinger, The Nutty Professor, Tower Heist. And then recently he was, the one that's kind of everybody's pick as his best movie is Dolomite Is My Name. And so I just want to give Eddie Murphy his shine here, because that the guy, I mean, even though he had that little 10-year break where he wasn't making that many good movies, he's had a great career. You know, he's influenced a lot of comedians, you know, like Chris Rock, like, and we'll talk about it in terms of the favorite movie. But for me, my favorite movie is Bowfinger. In that cast, you know, it's kind of like a romantic comedy. You know, you got Martin Lawrence was another guy he influenced. You had David Allen Greer in that movie. You had Robin Givens. If you don't know that name, that was Mike Tyson's ex-wife, the one that he got in trouble for. So I mean, that movie, and of course, young Halle Berry. So for me, my favorite movie is Boomerang.
Obviously, one of the most underrated movies he did, in my opinion, was Daddy Daycare. I thought he was hilarious in that movie as well.
Another one.
So yeah, he's done some good stuff. Gilbert, what was your favorite movie?
Yeah, real quick, I really liked Eddie Murphy's stand up in the 80s, like Delirious, Raw, like that stuff you watch on YouTube, and I just started cracking up. Like, yeah, there's some bad movies, and then like, but you can't forget the stand up game. He's probably the best stand up comedian of all time. I know you have Dave Chappelle and Richard Pryor and all these guys, but
Bernie Mac,
you gotta give credit to Eddie. Like, if you like the younger, I think for me, when we were young, we knew Eddie Murphy from The Nutty Professor, Dr. Dolittle. But then you start watching like the stand-up, like, this guy's on a different level. So I'm glad we're giving him his credit. And I think I saw that speech too when he won that award. Like, he was gonna be like serious, and he kind of made a joke about it. And that's Eddie Murphy. Oh yeah, about Will Smith. That's Eddie Murphy that I know, and he just kind of always told that line a little more to get people laughing. But not to go on a tangent, he has better movies. But for me, in my childhood, what I remember when I was laughing, The Nutty Professor, Hercules, and then playing all the different roles. There was a couple more that came out, but that first one I just remember watching it a lot on VHS. But there's so many to choose from, especially like Beverly Hills Cop. I like those movies too, but I'm going with The Professor before I take all of them.
You know, it's funny. I had a professor a film professor who told me that he thinks Eddie, like, he's like, why doesn't Eddie Murphy ever win an Academy Award? And we're like, what? Like, everybody in my class was like, what do you mean? And then he's like, yeah, why is it Julia Roberts? Why is it these people that do the same kind of movie all the time? He's like, Eddie Murphy was sitting in a room talking to himself with him being different characters. So like, he's the dad, he's yelling, he's joking around, he's talking over the mom when he's the mom as well, and when he's also the nutty professor. Like, he's like, to do all those roles together, he's like, this guy should win an Academy Award for his work. But obviously, he's like, that's why I don't watch the Academy Award, because it's all venom and it's all bull crap. Like, my teacher hated the Academy Awards because he thought Eddie Murphy, guys like Eddie Murphy, Adam Sandler, they had movies that were good enough to be able to win awards, but obviously they're not going to. But Dan, go ahead. What's your favorite movie?
Oh, for me, it was tough between Mulan, Shrek, and The Haunted Mansion. But my favorite movie is The Haunted Mansion. I love that ride from Disneyland, and I've always loved watching that one during Halloween. You know, it's just hilarious to me. It's very nostalgic for me because it reminds me of my childhood going on that ride. So I'm going to go with The Haunted Mansion.
So is it more about the ride or Eddie Murphy doing a good job in the film?
Well, he was hilarious in the movie, obviously. Like, what are we even doing? Obviously, yeah, I was about to say, look at you. I have to fight both guys in the top.
No, never. Obviously, this is my favorite movie.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Behold, Simmy, life, real life, a thing that we have been denied for far too long. Good morning, my neighbors. Yes. You too.
That's hilarious.
To me, Coming to America is just such him and Arsenio Hall, like the championship duo that they are, like, they're just hilarious. I thought that movie was his best work. Obviously he wants to come to America because he he wants to find a bride. Him and Simi he tries to live poor. He asks for the worst apartment, then Simi goes and buys all his like jacuzzis and everything. I just think it's an incredible movie. I think it's hilarious, and I think it is his best work. The second one to me was complete garbage. I wish I would have never seen it, but
by the way, it was okay.
I was gonna say that barbershop scene is still like one of the best things.
That is reference. That is hilarious. He's like, how can I look like that? Or he's like, can you cut my hair? He's like, oh yeah, that'll be $8.
He's like, his mama call him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay.
What does he call me? He's like, hey, it's Kunta Kinte. By the way, do we really expect him to be alive when they come back in the movie? They're still alive in the 2022 version. Like all of them, even the old guy that's in the old white guy, he's still alive too. Like it was just hilarious to see that. But I just thought it was disgusting. The girl that he hooked up with that night or whatever. Like that I was like, oh, dude, a prince would not. Well, whatever. I'm not gonna each their own, I guess.
We need to change Fernando's burial, apparently.
Obviously, but yeah, great stuff. I love Eddie Murphy. I think he, like you guys have said, he's awesome. Last week we talked about our favorite football movie to watch. Since we're in the middle of the NFL playoffs, what is your favorite football character, Vic?
For me, just growing up in the early 90s, Ed O'Neill, Al Bundy, Married with Children was my guy. Like, I started putting my hand where you're not supposed to put it because of him. It was just everything, Mr. 4 touchdowns in a game. You knew every single, you quoted him everywhere we went, whether we were in junior high or in high school. Even now, like, kids are still talking about it. You'll see reruns about, Peggy and all, and all the characters that came out of that. There was a church that they named No Ma'am, I think it was called. I mean, there's so many good things from that show, but Al Bundy has been my favorite football character.
Gilbert?
Yeah, I once also sold shoes, and I consider myself the Mexican Al Bundy. So shout out to Ed O'Neill, and hopefully the kids don't just know him as a guy from Modern Family. Yes. But yeah, mine is a little random because you took all the good ones. I like Al Bundy. I like the other ones too. I won't spoil them, but I did enjoy, a little underrated, I think. I enjoyed The Rock's movie. I mean, not the movie, the show, Ballers on HBO. So give me Spencer Strassmore, where he kind of like becomes a ex-football player who becomes an agent, and then like they actually take you behind the scenes pretty accurately. Like I thought it was a good, well done. Shout out to Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Spencer Strassmore.
No shout out.
Who got the Raiders to Las Vegas apparently.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did. I stopped watching at one point because I thought it got a little bit too. It like, I don't know, it just became a little bit too too much. I was like, whatever. But no, I like the first few seasons. I thought I just thought it got kind of like when they did the whole Raiders are moving to Vegas and he was the man behind it. I was like, okay, I'm kind of over this show.
But I thought they did a good job of showing you behind the scenes. Like,
they did. Yeah. Exactly. Dan.
Oh my God, there's only one person in my mind. Number 9 from the Bulldogs. What was their name?
Mud Dogs.
Louisiana.
Mud Dogs out in Louisiana. I loved Bobby Boucher, especially the way he would just go and just light someone up. That was the funniest thing to me. I think to me that's still one of his best movies ever. I love watching The Water Boy. Oh, it was just hilarious. The way he like randomly shows up. He's like, do you remember when Bobby Boucher and the Mud Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl? Do ya? And they all get hyped. It was hilarious, dude. I'm gonna go with Bobby Boucher. I love Bobby Boucher.
I still remember when the quarterback made,
yeah.
Bobby, I'm making water
boy. And the head coach is an hilarious actor. Also, he was hilarious in that movie.
The guy from Happy Days.
Yeah,
Happy Days. Barry.
You know what? He's been to a couple of Charger games. He's been like 2 or 3 this season.
Man. What's his name again?
I think Henry Winkle.
Henry Winkle.
Yeah, Henry Winkle's been to a couple of Charger games this year.
I think he's a Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
Garbage.
I take it back.
He is. But he came to the Chiefs Chargers game, but then he's been to like 2 other Charger games this year that I've seen him. So I'm like, oh, he probably got free tickets. I'm gonna go with one of my favorite shows, Blue Mountain State, Alex Moran. The backup quarterback. Huh?
The best backup, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. The backup quarterback is the best position ever, and Alex Moran shows you why. Because you get the girls, You don't have to play almost at all, but you reap the benefits of playing football. Look at Chase Daniel. Chase Daniel's made over $40 million as a backup quarterback. And I bet you he's probably only thrown 200 passes in his whole career.
He gets to be a TV analyst while he's playing football. Like that tells you he doesn't do much.
And you know he's going to be a TV analyst once he's done.
Yeah.
Gilbert, tell everybody what we saw when we went to 39 the barbecue place in Kansas City. What kind of jerseys did we see?
Chase Daniel. Yeah, Chase.
We saw Missouri Chase Daniel, Kansas City. There was a lot of Chase Daniel jerseys.
He actually played back then with the.
No, yeah, he did. But I'm saying
the Chiefs.
The backup quarterback is where it's at. Alex Moran showed that, but I just thought the Alex Moran was hilarious. Like him, Sammy Cacciatore, Thad Castle, the whole they had a great nucleus, and like Gilbert said, they give you a real insight on how college football really is.
There you go.
That to me is how I think college football is.
And he won a natty.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, exactly. So all right, it's time to kick you guys out, and because it's time for Una Mas.
Wait, hold on. I want to get these guys involved because we were having a nice conversation about the movies I want to review or TV show.
You're gonna keep them?
Yeah, why not? A little longer. I've been mean to both of you guys about terrible talent but good coaching, and then a rookie contract. So whatever.
All right, you can keep them then. Right. So is Una Mas? Am I leading it or you're leading Una Mas?
No, I'm gonna start it here. So Una Mas is kind of like a extension from Avocado Roast because, as you know, I'm off season Gilberto right now. I got more time to watch stuff, and for some reason, maybe because I've been calling the Vikings frauds, I've been in a Vikings theme. So I watched over the weekend the Northman. There you go. This is more like a different kind of Minnesota, like Norway and Denmark. I don't know. All these Iceland. There we go.
Erling Haaland, Martin Odegaard. Yeah, we get it.
The super North. Okay. But yeah, so I watched the Northman. I don't know any of the actors. I know one of them is from that chess show.
One of them is Scar.
Yeah. I don't know, but let me start off with the Northman real quick, and after you guys could get into it, and then I'll give you the one that I really liked. That's a Viking show, but the Northman. We're doing avocado rate. We haven't done avocado rate in a while. I like to go to percentages, so I'm gonna give it like it's a green tomato. I'm not gonna say it's a spoiled one. Oh, sorry, not tomato.
That's weird.
Sorry, I'm off. Avocado.
Talking about tomatoes.
Avocados are green or good. Okay, so little brown. There we go. I'm gonna throw it off. Little brown here. So I'm gonna give it like a 58% on the Northman. When I was reading the reviews, I thought it was gonna be a lot of action. It started out with some good action, and then it just became a dull process about trying to get his revenge. Come on, start the revenge a little sooner. And then a bunch of weirdo witchcraft, black magic occurred that didn't know. Maybe it did occur. Maybe it was a real behind the scenes of how you are as a Viking, right? But it was good for me to watch at home. If I would have watched it in the theaters, I probably would have been mad. So 58%. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I watched it. Okay, you want me to go first? I watched it in the theater and I left a little bit pissed. I kind of agree. I think to me, it's just barely not passing just because I hated the ending. I liked what they did in the sense of the Shakespearean undertones about revenge and stuff like that. I thought it was very well done in that sense. It was a very nice little setup. But then they, instead of doing it like Macbeth or I forgot what the other one is. I always forget these. Sorry to all my former English teachers. I apologize. But they had a nice setup that could have ended so well. But then they veered off into all these weird roads that made no sense. And I was at one point I was like, okay, I'm kind of over this. The way you can measure if I enjoy a film in a movie theater or not is by how many times I get up to go to the bathroom. And I got up plenty of times this time to go to the bathroom. I'll tell you that.
Hopefully, also you got up during that weird ending with Nicole Kidman. So we won't spoil it, but that was
so weird. Well, it's already been out, so we should. But
let's not get too far. But what's your percentage before we get to Vic?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Brown also. Percentage, I guess, I would give it a 65. It's almost there, but not really. You know what I mean? I think I'll give it a 65, and it's really brown. It's barely
It's the leftover stale avocado.
Exactly. It's the leftover avocado when you've already used all the good one for guacamole.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the opposite view. I mean, I knew what it was. It was a timepiece. You got Alexander Skarsgård. You got Anna Taylor-Joy. Sorry, the girl from Queen's Gambit, and she's also in The Menu. If you haven't seen it, go watch The Menu. It's on HBO Max right now. And then you had Nicole Kidman, as you guys said. Ethan Hawke was, at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
but it's a weirdo. Yeah, it's a timepiece movie. It was I thought it was one of my top 7 movies I saw. Like the best one was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Top 7.
Was probably in the top 7. Top Gun, which I saw again over the weekend. For the 5th time since it came out.
The Northman, the rookie contracts of film this year, huh?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I knew what it was. It was a timepiece film. I enjoyed, kind of going through the whole thing of him doing his revenge kind of tour there, and and then falling in love with the slave lady, and so. Yeah,
slave lady.
Bro, she was wrong, right?
She was.
Yeah. Huh? What's your percentage then?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna say it's about a 90% because I really enjoyed it. I knew what it was. Yeah, I knew what it was. I mean, it was in my top 7 films from last
Jurassic
year.
Park. I knew what it was too.
Jurassic Park was total trash.
Exactly.
Just real quick before we get too long. Don't get me wrong. I like timepieces. But you put this up against Troy, which was a good act of revenge and everything else. It's absolute garbage and manure. It's not in the same category.
There was an airplane in Troy.
What?
There's an airplane in Troy.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for the bad editing. But you see what I'm saying? I don't mind watching things, pre-industrial and everything else. It's cool.
Obviously it wasn't industrial if there was an airplane.
Watching ancient things. Thank you.
It wasn't ancient if there was an airplane.
I reclaim it was ancient Greece, dude. Okay. I don't mind watching that stuff, but to me, the story itself was super it made no sense at one point. The ending is idiotic and everything else. To me, it was just stupid. When you have to explain a movie through YouTube, it makes no sense.
It's no Gladiator. I get it, Dan.
Exactly. Gladiator was a better revenge movie.
Little Daniel didn't think so.
No, because he's an idiot. That simpleton knows nothing.
It got weird when they were howling like they're wolves, and then somebody farted. So put it that
and they're way. Eating out of the bowl like dogs. If that's what they did, I guess that's what they did. But
yeah, you can put that aside. It's a decent movie, but it's not for me and Dan. It is for Victor, who's at top 7 of 2022. Last thing on a good note,
optimist.
I guess so. But on a good note here, if you want to stick to that kind of theme or Vikings genre, there. Vikings Valhalla on Netflix, which is one of the top shows right now in season 2. I'm just started season 1. Really well done. Check it out, Dan. There you go. Victor, I don't know if you have. But I'm doing it the wrong way because it's a spin-off from the Viking show on the History Channel. I've never seen that, but supposedly that's better, so I will go around. So a lot of Viking shows will go around.
Apparently.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say the one I know about is the one on the History Channel. So I just thought they just put them on Netflix, but it's good to know.
Well apparently that's really popular, the Vikings. So they did a spin-off show, and the spin-off was really good on Netflix. So
that's great.
Fernando, that's it. That's uno más. You weren't part of it really, but thank you for being patient and letting the guys have
really. I didn't say anything.
I know we talked about Eddie Murphy, but make sure you watch You People. It's gonna be really, really funny. With Jonah Hill.
Yeah, we forgot about that. Yeah, I definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, that's Nia Long. There you go.
Trailers are misleading. Hopefully, it's good.
No, that one look. I mean, I think that one's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, I've been tricked before.
And real quick, one more. I just watched Nope also on the weekend because I'm catching up, and I like that one. I'd say 78%. That's one of the
Jordan Peele. Yeah. Jordan Peele movie. Weird.
That's the one where they're in a range.
Alien.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the movies.
After This Is Us or whatever, I didn't like that one, and I'm like, okay, I'm good.
All right. See, I could contribute to Avocado Roast, Victor. It's off season, so there we go. Going a little longer.
Yeah, I like it.
But all right, get out of here, guys. Let Fernando do some promos.
All right, we'll talk to you guys. Dan, you got anything else to say before?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. I don't understand why I was so vilified on this episode, and Frau hasn't cut me off yet. I don't know why.
You got to get a promo for Rex Ryan. I'll say that.
He did. No, I mean, when Dan's on it, he's on it. So I definitely, that's why he's one of the few fans. some other friends try and tell me stuff. I'm like, I'm not gonna listen. The only person I listen to when it comes to NFL stuff, any fan, is Dan. But obviously, we appreciate you guys so much for checking out yet another episode of Compas on the Beat. Obviously, don't forget to check out What's Up Bolts. Dan, Daygo, and I break down everything that happened in that debacle that was the last game of the season. We will have another episode. We're just waiting to hear what is going to be the future of Brandon Staley and General Manager Tom Telesco. Once we know, Dan and Daygo and I will jump on. We'll do another episode. We'll probably do, well, depending on what happens, we won't count down how many more episodes we'll do before we take a little bit of a break. But as long as this is going, we're gonna continue going. So don't forget to check out House of Horns. Gilbert and Victor Producer obviously gave their they talked about Sean McVay coming back. They also talked about the end of the season affairs, what's going to happen with them, what's the future of the Rams. They got all that covered. Don't forget to check out Compas FC breaking down. Well, obviously this week we'll be breaking down what happened between the upset between Manchester United and Manchester City. Very interesting matchup. Is Marcus Rashford the best player right now in the world? JC and Eddie will obviously discuss that, and I'm sure it'll be a heated argument. And obviously, Comeback Compas will be making it'll be making a comeback. Don't worry, we're coming back with Comeback Compas pretty soon. We got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. The Royal Rumble's coming up for WWE. Hey, UFC just announced a lot of good matches for the month of March. You know who's fighting pretty soon? I saw a mural of him down in San Isidro. Brandon. Brandon, I can't remember. I forgot his last name, but I saw a mural of his, and I'm like, I forgot he was a UFC champion right now. So that'll be awesome. We'll be doing some stuff there. Boxing,
Moreno.
Obviously,
I just got it.
Moreno. There you go, Brandon Moreno. Obviously, Ryan Garcia and what's his name? Golden Boy already said if this deal is not done, then we're moving on. But is Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia going to get done? We will see. We'll have that for you guys. We appreciate you guys so much again for rocking with your compas. Don't forget, subscribe, like, comment. Let us know if you guys have any questions. But obviously, we appreciate you guys so much. We be a compa, tell a compa about your compas. And Gilbert, you got anything to say before we go?
No, Fernando, but I think next week we gotta make some announcements because we're doing some big things, and finally we're making some moves. Yes, and I need to get these hats on deck for people to also get some and help us out here with the program because I know people like these hats. The new logo right there looks fresh. You probably notice it on your phone too. The new logo that we have, but we're gonna announce some stuff next week. I'm ready for that, and yes, maybe finally ring that bell. Get to Comeback Compas because I'm itching for that. I know I get kind of fired up and annoyed for football, but boxing, even more. So we're gonna do it.
Yeah, no, and there's a lot of cool stuff happening in the city of Los Angeles pretty soon with WrestleMania coming to LA. So definitely we want to have you guys covering on all that stuff. But for now, Gilbert's gonna take a little bit of a break. Obviously, I need to do end of the season stuff for the Chargers. So we're gonna get back to work. So obviously, Gilbert, ¿sabes qué? Vámonos.
You hear that? That's me going through the mountains of Big Bear, skiing. Not gonna snowboard. I might break an ankle. But on that note, ya nos vamos because I need to go on vacation. Hold it down, Fernando. I'll be back soon. Ya nos vamos, pues, vámonos.